I'm Rob Creator Taco Balda. We're totally streaming live now. It's happening because I pressed the buttons in the wrong order. This is Geeks and Space episode 758, and I am here, weirdly enough, with Chris DeBona, but also with Miles Ward.
Hi.
Hey.
This is weird. I pressed the run button, and then I freaked out, and then I pressed a different button because I forgot to press the first button. Guys, it didn't work out very well for anybody.
Yep.
I'm always a fan of just clicking all of the buttons and seeing what they do. So you are currently bugging around and finding out.
The button master. But I made those macros. I know what they did, so everything's all messed up, and I can't do anything about it.
Yeah, no, true.
Well, let's see. We have, okay, check out each visit to this page deteriorates the main image. I just found this charming. You can view the original, and I think every time it loads, they just are saving and resaving the JPEG or whatever or top of itself, so it's just degrading.
Oh, nice.
I don't know. I mean, so here I'm going to hit the show original button.
Show original, yeah.
Are you ready? Yeah. So it was a pretty, shooting star airplane or something. And then here's what it looks like today. I'm going to reload it.
And make it a little worse.
Is it getting worse?
Is it getting worse? It's always worse.
Is it getting worse? Is it getting worse? All right. So that was exciting.
Yep. It's weird though, because I posted that story 4 days ago, and at that point, the deterioration between the before and after was actually like you could tell if you squinted a little, but now it's getting worse.
Now you're staring into the ghost in the shell a little bit.
I hate it. I hate it so much. Let's see. I posted XKCD from last week, and I don't even remember why.
Okay.
So let's see what I did. Oh, there we go. This was a make us feel old.
My.
This was a make us feel old.
Ew.
Yep. Because we are now at the halfway point between recovering from the y2k bug, and now we have the next 19 years to prepare for the 2038 bug.
Blah.
So I worked a y2k contract for the Gap back in
As you do.
1997, I think I was working on it. And I'll never forget, there was another guy, a full-timer. I was just some pathetic contractor consultant, right?
As opposed to now.
Yeah, as opposed to now. So this full-time engineer, this old graybeard, I look back on this over and over again, and I constantly play it back in my head, right? So we had like these enormous Sunfire machines running databases for them and doing queries overnight on it's popular shirt in the Western region, that kind of thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we were really worried that the year 2000 would just knock it over and have its way with it, right? And so I was like, well, have we thought about, setting the time to, December 31st, 1990.
Like, see what happens.
And, see if all the mitigation that we've been planning for works, and then restore from backup. And he looks at me, he's like, that's the stupidest fucking idea I've ever heard of in my life. I'm like, okay, sure. I'm just some kid, some snotty kid, man. Whatever, Anyways, but like I was called into like the big boss's office, and he's like, "Yeah, we're totally gonna do that. That was a great idea." I'm like, "Okay."
What just happened?
So I was there for another like 3 months, and I planned it out and all the rest. And I was literally putting shit in a box because I had taken the job at VA Linux.
Oh, congratulations!
And the guy who was pissed off at me comes into my office. He's like, I'm never going to do that stupid test. I'm like, whatever, dude. But I play it back into my head and I'm like, why was he so pissed at me? And, I mean, if I was wrong, cool. I'm cool being wrong, but it's just like somehow I got in between him and the people around him. And I'm like, I was a symbol of something. I don't know. It was so weird. It was just super weird.
I think you were being manipulated for sport. That sounds like an old guy just screwing with the young guy for pure kicks.
Yeah, I wish I wrote his name down or something.
Now that you're old,
where he is now,
you get to do it to others.
That's
well,
right.
I really think about this. I want to make sure that I don't treat people the way that I was treated.
Yeah,
that was pretty crappy.
You mean you're breaking the cycle? How nice.
That's my goal. I just want to break the cycle.
I don't remember too much of what we did with Y2K. I just remember that everything was stupid.
Cross your fingers.
Yeah, kind of. No, everything was stupid because we had rewritten. I mean, we had our own like Perl time zone code at some point because
Of course you did.
well, because at the time it didn't exist, so we had to write our own in order to fix something or other. So I think we had tested it pretty well by the time that came along. So yep, there you go, Chris. There's Doom rendered with emojis.
As God and John Carmack.
Oh, yeah.
Did.
Oh,
I do
that
wish
is-
this zoomed in a little more. I would like to see it. But if you actually,
Yeah.
you don't need to bother, but you can go to the webpage. They didn't actually do that detailed of a job. Remember when it was like a whole thing to like make the photo mosaics?
Mhm.
I still have somewhere. I have a photo mosaic of Cowboy Neil wearing the penguin hat, but rendered entirely with Minnesota prison sex offenders. Because that was like
nice.
that was this controversial thing that
That's
they were
how you know you're a
releasing-
true friend.
Yeah, they were releasing mugshots. And so, but as I recall, the first generation of these photo mosaics were really dumb, but the second generation was actually like doing it at a subpixel level.
Mhm.
So they could actually be really accurate. And it doesn't appear that this is really doing any of the subpixel stuff. It's just kind of going best color
It's
match.
down. No.
No.
So the best use of the Minnesota child sex offender registry was the Alien versus Child Predator page
Yep, I remember
that
that.
old man Murray put up.
Yep.
No, we
And
had
then
a
he'd
whole
go and write Portal. Yeah, so there you go.
we had a whole horrible, I mean, we are horrible people, drinking game associated with this deal where it was you would hold up the phone with the picture and then you had to guess what horrible shit this person
no.
did.
That's too dark, man. I can't
That's
do
dark.
it. Yeah. So then, and then if you're like, oh yeah, we just got a little exposing yourself to minors. Nice. That's an easy one, right? Like it was terrible.
They're usually just beating their wives, right? I mean,
there's
like
quite a bit of that. Yeah.
it's horrible. Like don't ever dig into that because it's one of those you don't want to know.
Well, I think at a subconscious level, all of us want to be able to like identify terrifying people on sight. And every time we were playing this thing, we were just realizing like, oh no, it's like you can't. And it's that is a bad instinct of ours and it doesn't work. And we're all hosed.
Yeah, pretty much. The wrist-mounted camera story is actually
I'm trying to find a video.
Yeah, it's there's not a lot of information about it, and I'm really curious about it. And essentially, it's just there's a camera on your wrist, and using machine learning and smartness, it's supposed to be able to reasonably accurately recreate the position of your entire body in kind of real time. At least good enough for maybe like video game work, maybe not good enough for like film motion capture. But I don't know, like I'm fascinated by that. And the article also made a note that if you're that accurate with something sitting on your wrist, you're probably more accurate doing the same thing on anybody standing within visual line of sight of the camera, which is a little scarier.
So I typed in the name of the technology, which is Body Track, and I got this thing, which is an ear implantable biometric readout system for heat, strain. This is a bunch of crap. Fatigue. Yeah. Okay, so this is crap. Not what we're looking for. But I thought it was interesting because they have a thing that you put in your ear like a Bluetooth speaker.
I mean, if you can stick it in a ring, I don't really understand why it is you wouldn't be able to stick it literally wherever the hell you want, right?
Well, this is the thing, one of the things so here's where the problem of working at Google is, so, I was 10 years ago, I was like, we should ship every Android with headphones that actually have sensors or heartbeats and all the rest. But, there are some things you can do at Google and some things you can't because, we're very worried about privacy and perception of the things we do.
Right. Like, for example, putting a camera on the side of your face and then just watching John Sobel take a shower.
Didn't mean to share that. So
yeah, sometimes cameras can be a problem.
So this is a Rob story, right, Chris? I didn't watch this video and I don't know that I want to, so I'm gonna squint a little bit.
No. It's not dirty. It's just, guys walk into a room, close a curtain, and then their testicles are checked for health.
But this is legit. This isn't scammy.
Totally innocent. It's not some porn site.
Because That
It's
looks
the
like
New
that looks
Zealand
like
Medical Services thing.
that just looks like the bathroom at my gas station, and I've never
Oh,
really I'm scared of that
God.
guy. I don't know what he's doing.
I mean,
No.
you know, is this a glory? I'm going to use the wrong doctor
Glory
type.
ER,
Glory proctologist,
glory urologist.
yeah, urologist, somewhere in there. That's not good. Like that's not what you want. Is
And do I get frequent flyer miles?
Those perks.
oh no, now you're talking.
Yeah.
There we
Drop
go.
trow.
Oh, Joe, good. They tell you to take your pants off.
Brace yourself.
It doesn't work really as well.
He just points down, less pants.
I like that. It says you're in safe hands. I sure am. Oh, that's the creep.
Oh,
the
that's
camera
the
angle.
key shot.
Okay, that's funny.
Oh.
That's funny.
He's like, okay, I'm the bravest man in New Zealand.
I don't like the thumbs up. I didn't like that at all.
Yeah, where's that thumb going?
Yeah.
I have this expectation that you're gonna like, you're gonna have you can look through the window as the person being checked at the person on the other side that's checking, but the other person can't see you. And of course they're gonna like video replace. It's like this, lovely, pleasant looking person who's taking care of you, and it's actually like grumpy urologist doctor like, God damn it, another set of balls.
I wonder if that guy okay, so if you get copays on that, like if the doctor is being paid by the visit, and you get to charge like whatever the standard rate is for the appointment, the doctor on the other side of that curtain could theoretically be doing like 30 or 40 of those an hour, right? And so if he's charging whatever a doctor charges for those appointments, that could be mad bank.
Well, it seems like you could have 3 sides to his little hidden box if you build
Oh,
the
yeah.
room right. So then you're just running
Or
lefty and righty.
if the doctor's ambidextrous, he
Right,
can
exactly.
Just
I'm
go
definitely
two at the same
thinking 2 at a
time.
time. He's like, no odd lumps here, and also no odd lumps there. Yay!
This is the worst idea we've had, and we've had some bads. So Chris, I think every single story from this point on is now when I got to Rob.
I think we should leave these for
so
Rob.
let's say we can save those for Rob
on Friday.
I
think he's at his appointment watching us on the live stream.
It could be. That's funny.
No,
I probably won't be here on Friday. But let's see. We have the Shazam 2 trailer, which looked boring.
It's the year 2022 in reality, and I'm just not prepared for that many people in tights. It's like, I feel like some director is going to have the creativity and forethought to recognize that nobody looks good in a banana hammock.
I liked the first Shazam.
I do too.
So, I'm gonna.
And we've talked about it. We've talked about it a lot. But I like that it's a charming, fun kids movie, except for it's got a terrible horror sequence in the first third. But it's charming. I thought the kid was great. I thought that Zach Levi was not great, but not
in the first one.
Yeah, but not his fault.
He's likable.
For sure, it's not his fault. It's that the kid and Zach Levi were 2 completely different characters, and they were supposed to be the same guy, and it didn't work because of that.
Right.
And that's not cool. But I thought it was charming. I wish it was a little better. And that's one that I think that COVID kind of hurts, because having 2 or 3 years in between these means all of those kids are now 27, and we got the Stranger Things problem.
Right.
It's like, hey, look at all these high school kids that look like they're in their mid-20s. Cool. That makes sense. Your character's supposed to be a sophomore, but clearly you can buy beer.
Right.
Yeah, that didn't work for me. My media consumption for the last 72 hours, I watched 9 episodes of The Crown.
Yeah, I wrapped up The
7 hours.
Crown last night.
Yeah,
me and the wife.
I haven't got to the last episode yet, but that show is heroin.
It's fine. This they don't really know how to end a season. You know what I mean?
I haven't seen the end of the season yet, but yeah.
Well, I mean, it doesn't end like dramatically. It just sort of peters out.
Well, the episodes are, that show is interesting because the episodes are also self-contained, really. Like, they really like, you persist a prime minister or whatever through the season, but they like the episodes themselves are like, we're going to spend 1 full episode and talk about this person. And it's really focused that way. And I like that. It actually, I find that way better than what you see with most of the ensemble TV shows that are like that are humor based or real like fiction. Those shows you get your 9 character ensemble, and so every episode you've got to give every single one of those characters a story arc. And suddenly by the end of it, you're like, okay, well, the main story arc, I got like 12 minutes of it, and I don't care about anybody. So you just failed. You failed all of your characters. At least this one, they generally pare it down to the 2 or 3 main beats for the episode, and I like that. And I think the acting is on that show is great. My biggest beef with this season is that because in previous seasons I didn't know anything about the stories they were telling, really, because I'm not up to date on my British royal family lore. But now we're into the parts of the story where, like, I was alive when Princess Di, when all that was happening, and I remember the media coverage on that, and it feels so cheesy because, like, it feels like some of the dialogue that they're spitting out just feels like it feels almost like dropping Luke Skywalker into the end of The Mandalorian. It's like, we know we have to reference the fact that she wore a dress that the media freaked out about after the divorce, the revenge dress. We have to mention it. And so they do. And you're just like, yay, my member berries.
Well, what kills me is, Elizabeth Debicki is stupid tall. She's 6'3". Now, Princess Diana was 5'10", so she was really tall.
She was tall.
But Elizabeth Debicki is like a whole different species.
Yeah, she's an alien.
Yeah. I mean, she's gorgeous, right?
Yeah.
It is weird to me.
She's a once in a lifetime talent. But
and it's a Princess Di thing too. She's got the tall girl slouch.
She's constantly like sitting in her.
Yeah,
in her
like
neck,
anytime you see her like bent, hunched over, and I mean, it's not unusual for tall people in general to have that hunch. You see it a lot. But I often see it with ladies, and I don't know if that was a Princess Di thing that she's mimicking, or if that's an Elizabeth.
She was very much mimicking Princess Di. Like, I'm like, one, how do you make your neck do that when you're that tall?
Yeah, ow.
But like, yeah, I mean, she clearly studied her. She's like, she's, she makes it look elegant. I mean, which is, she's a gorgeous model person, but yeah.
Let's see. What fun stuff has happened with Twitter in the last 48 hours?
But honestly, every time I go to it, I'm just surprised it's still running.
Oh yeah. No. I mean, like I there was a whole block of time where I had a whole bunch of numbers on mine that said I had lots of DMs, and then I would check all those DMs and that number didn't change. And I'm like, oh, there's one of those little pesky microservices they have over there that's not doing its thing.
My favorite of those right now is that apparently amongst the 80% unnecessary microservices they shut down included the 2-factor authentication. Well,
can you imagine what their SMS bill must be for 2-factor? I mean,
right now probably zero.
Well, now it's zero. He's like, we're cutting costs.
The
old-fashioned way.
No more 2-factor authentication. It's great. That was the last one that I had heard, but
so we've been reading books. Miles has been reading Mystery for the Future. I just wrapped up Spareman from MRK, so tell us about Mystery of the Future there, dog owner.
Mystery of the Future is at once, I think, super depressing and dark, as it promptly slays zillions of people in its various points of
stroke.
And then people keep dying. Don't worry, there's lots of death.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, but it reads like this, like an academic paper primer where you're going through, here's all the stuff, and I mean they cover about 90% of the stuff that I've ever read as ingenious attempts to mitigate what's happening to the climate. You've got drilling into the glaciers to pump the water underneath them out so that they don't slide into the water so damn fast. You got all sorts of like weird little energy hacks to try and make it so we don't light the biosphere on fire. So I'm just hyper motivated about that issue and liked it as a study guide.
So this is like a real thing. Like this is about like science.
The cover quote is exactly right. This is the best science fiction nonfiction book I've ever read. Right? Because it like a whole bunch of it is just yanked out of either current science research or NOAA stuff or startups that are in the space that are trying to figure this stuff out. but then they sort of wrap a fictional narrative around it so you can pay attention long enough to read the whole thing.
It sounds like you are the sort of person who has hope for the future of our planet.
I do have hope.
Unlike the average Twitter employee.
Could you share hope with me? Because I'm just doomsday clocking until we're done.
Look at this puppy dog.
Oh,
Look
it's
at this
so
fuzzy
cute.
little guy. We have to save the Earth for him and his obviously ridiculously adorable progeny over time. So it's we're gonna make it, man. Nerds have screwed up all sorts of stuff, but we unscrew up stuff too. It's gonna work okay.
See, I'm more of the mindset of we should just make a list of which of the dozen unavoidable catastrophes is going to be the one that finally kills us, and then do we get to live through it?
Right.
Or do we get to live? Does it happen after our deaths or not? Because we're all older guys, so a lot of the worst stuff is maybe a decade or two
Miles
out.
is not as old as we are.
I'm a whippersnapper, and
he's got an electric tuba. It's a euthaning device.
Yeah. No, this definitely shortens my telomeres. So the just by vibration, there's definitely I like Cory Doctorow's whole cozy catastrophe write up. That's like, but there's kind of two flavors of catastrophe, right? There's ones we obviously clearly toe cannoned ourselves into that are largely geopolitical and social, and that super sucks. And then there's ones that are like, it's just as bad to be in your like sweet New Zealand fortress when an asteroid takes out North America and now there are just no more Crown episodes to watch.
No!
Right? I mean, it's just
the
dark.
Queen's dead. They should cancel that show.
Yeah, forget it. Just chuck it.
Done. Hey, you got a hard stop, Mr. Miles? All right.
I do, but it was glorious. And nice to meet you,
sure.
Brent.
Oh, sure. Well, let's just wrap, and we'll come back maybe next week. But thanks for joining us, Miles, filling in at the last minute.
Happy to do it.
And also, goodbye.
Hopefully the first of many.
Anytime. We're always here. Well, that's sometimes true. Goodbye, Chris.
Cheers.
I say goodbye to you all the time, so it's not nearly as special. I was Rob Commander Taco Malda. That was episode 758 of Geeks in Space. Not like my button's actually going to work. We will see you hopefully next week with more fun and adventure. Bye.